What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Nick causes Ridge and Carter a problem, and Carter asks Daphne questions at Forrester. Brooke tells Ridge she's offering forgiveness and a way to find their way back to each other. Ridge thinks it sounds like an ultimatum, either he comes back to her, or she'll bring Nick to Italy. Brooke complains about how hard it is to work with him knowing he's with Taylor. "You love me more than her," she declares as Nick enters. Good. What was this when I walked in? Or do I have to inquire? Nick keeps poking his nose in as Brooke and Ridge discuss a missing silk order. Brooke asks Ridge to give them a minute and Nick barks, "Set sail, pal." Brooke answers a phone call as Ridge leaves. Nick takes a step back and asks somebody to hold the silk container for Forrester Creations. Nick then brings up his offer to show Brooke his way through Italy. He wants to get her on the water and take her to the Isle of Capri. Brooke giggles that it's gorgeous. Nick tells her anything can happen. Can Brooke's head be turned? Steffi and Taylor express their relief at Liam's surgery and recovery at the Forrester mansion. His brain mass has vanished. It really is a miracle. Taylor wonders if it would be too much to ask for another Imagine if Brooke decided not to go to Naples with Ridge. Steffi doesn't want Brooke going on the trip either, but Eric and Ridge do. Taylor is aware that Brooke receives a lot of attention abroad, which is beneficial to business. Steffi recognizes her mother's annoyance. Taylor admires and adores Eric, but she is aware that he would prefer Ridge and Brooke to reconcile. Steffi does not wish for her mother to be concerned about Brooke. Taylor has observed Ridge's ability to be manipulated, so she is using Nick to provoke him. Donna shows up and says hello to them. She tells them Brooke's only interested in one man. Steffi says if anyone can turn Brooke's head, it's Nick. He has previously. Donna extols her sister's influence on men. Taylor thinks Nick could have the same effect on her. Does Donna not think that he could approach her and seduce her? Brooke continues to feel a connection to Ridge, so Donna believes it would be a mistake. It's no secret she hasn't given up hope for a future with him. She wants Brooke to be happy. "Sorry, I just want her to be happy." Donna is reminded by Taylor that Brooke and Nick had a son when they were together. Donna contends that Ridge is Brooke's lifelong love. She's sorry, but she's pretty sure Ridge feels the same way about Brooke. How long is Daphne staying? In the design office, Eric and Carter worry about getting the silk they need. Daphne appears as they both exhale deeply after a sudden sniff. They welcome her back. She is overjoyed to be back in Los Angeles. They discuss Liam's recovery and the terrible shootings. Carter says hope is with him right now. The international event comes up next. Eric tells Daphne her line's been a great success. He told his son this trip will be a life changer, especially for Ridge and Brooke. In the hallway, Daphne and Carter hang out and look at gowns. She chooses the one she likes. She knows how important this trip is and alludes to teasing the press. Daphne is putting together a special package for Brooke, Eric, and Ridge to bring to Italy to promote the new fragrance. Carter's impressed and tells Daphne he's missed seeing her. Daphne is sure Carter misses her. She's missed him too. She's just surprised he said it. He reminds her they're friends and he's happy to see her again. Daphne points out that it has only been a short time. He asks how long she's staying this time. Giving him a peculiar look, she muses, "We'll see." What is Ridge's issue? Ridge complains to Eric that Nick is present in the design office. Brooke requested a conversation with him after he told him to leave. "I don't want him to come to Italy with us," he exclaims. Eric thinks his son should dig deep to see why Nick gets to him so much. Because of this, Ridge growls that he is a self-serving hypocrite. He gets a call and finds out that his man has found the silk shipment. It's with Marone's shipping company. Ridge cuts off the line and informs Eric that he's messing with us. Ridge barks that he discussed the silk with Nick but never said a word. He's messing with their business and thinks it's a big joke. Eric says first it's the silk, and next it will be Brooke. "You've got to stop him, Ridge." In the main office, Nick tells Brooke that nothing compares to the beauty of Italy. "Let's enjoy it together." She reminds him this isn't a vacation. He is able to turn it into one. Nick recalls that she loves being on the water, just like him. Nick gushes about the magic of it all and tells her that Italy loves her too. Does she really want to be in a bunch of stiff meetings? She could see Italy with him and make a little magic, kid. Brooke giggles. Brooke tells Nick he's painting a beautiful picture. Nick wants her to understand how he feels. She's flattered. Ridge appears and confronts Nick about having an agenda. Like he always does, he came to deceive and tell lies. Brooke is informed by Ridge that their silk is aboard his boat. Nick smirks that he tried to tell him he had business there, but Ridge wouldn't let him speak. Brooke inquires about this with Nick. Nick asserts that Ridge did not mean it that way. He pulls out his phone and authorizes the release of the silk. Ridge informs him that he is beginning to annoy Ridge. He likes to come and mess with people's lives, and he's not going to do that to Logan. He yells at Nick to shut up. Also stopped calling her Logan. You're marrying another woman. The bold and the beautiful Steffi and Liam bond over his near-death experience. Taylor suspects Nick is using the Italy trip as a clear path to Brooke, and Eric gives Ridge an emotional warning. Brooke Logan stood with unwavering poise as she opened her heart to Ridge Forrester at Forrester Creations, the place where fashion meets rivalry. Ridge Forrester was the man who had shaped the majority of Brooke Logan's adult life through passion, betrayal, and hope reborn. I'm offering forgiveness, she said, her voice trembling between resolve and romantic fatigue, and a way for us to find our way back to each other. But Ridge, who was always a conflicted soul caught between ego and devotion, resisted. He interpreted it as a ruse and an exacting ultimatum. Either he returns to her or she is taking Nick Marone to Italy with her. The very suggestion sparked a storm of fury in Ridge. He clenched his jaw because he could already hear Nick's smug laugh echoing the sound of sails and salty air. Ridge yelled, "You're using him to provoke me." Brooke, who was always thoughtful and emotional, laughed at the idea. She said, her eyes flickering with the embers of past passions, "You love me more than you love Taylor." Nick walked into the office at that exact moment, as if prompted by their tension, casually confident, like a rogue wave crashing into an already turbulent ocean. "Well, well, well," he quipped, eyes glinting with mischief. "What did I walk in on here, or do I need to ask?" While Brooke shifted uncomfortably, clearly torn between the two very different men who had shaped her destiny in opposing ways, Ridge glared at him with the intensity of 1,000 fashion show spotlights. Nick's entry wasn't accidental. Nick lingered like a storm cloud as Ridge and Brooke rushed to discuss a missing shipment of important silk for the Naples fashion show. Ridge stalked out with bitter reluctance when Brooke asked him to give them a minute. "Set sail, pal," Nick barked with a wry smirk as Ridge exited, planting himself even more firmly into Brooke's vulnerable space. Nick, never one to pass up a chance, quietly contacted someone to hold the silk shipment, Forrester's silk shipment, while Brooke was answering a business call. He was using his influence at Marone Shipping to slightly tilt the business compass in his favor. The move was classic Nick, calculated, veiled in charm, and destined to raise Ridge's blood pressure. Nick continued exactly where he had left off when Brooke finished her call. "Do you recall my offer?" "Let me show you Italy, my way," he asked, his voice sounding like the sea breeze he had always romanticized. He promised her Capri, sparkling waters, ancient grottos, and a life unburdened by second-guessing and ex-wives. Brooke laughed softly, clearly tempted. "It's gorgeous," she admitted. Nick leaned in, almost conspiratorially. He whispered, "Anything can happen." Brooke blushed because she knew he was trouble, but it was the kind that made her feel adventurous. Meanwhile, at the Forrester mansion, Taylor and Steffi sat in quiet relief, marveling at the miracle of Liam's recovery. The tumor was gone, just gone. The doctors called it a medical anomaly, but Taylor, always slightly spiritual, half-joked that maybe they'd witnessed divine intervention. But this family's tranquility never lasted long. Taylor's thoughts immediately turned to Brooke. "What happens if she doesn't go to Naples?" she mused aloud, half wishing, half doubting. Steffi, as well, would prefer Brooke to remain at home, away from Ridge and the fashion-themed family vacation. However, Ridge and Eric had different plans. Brooke continued to attract attention abroad, and the media adored her. Although Taylor acknowledged that Brooke was beneficial to business, she did not have to agree with it. "She's manipulating Ridge," Taylor said firmly, "and using Nick to do it." Donna chose that moment to appear, cheery and a little oblivious to the mounting tension. "Brooke's only interested in one man," Donna insisted. Steffi raised an eyebrow. She admonished Nick. Nick could still turn her head. He has in the past. Donna, ever loyal to her sister, tried to dismiss the notion, but even she had to admit that Brooke and Nick had chemistry, and a shared child. Taylor seized the moment. She stated, "He could swoop in and take her." Donna looked conflicted. "That would be a mistake," she whispered. "Ridge is still her favorite." However, Taylor was already giving hope to herself. For once, could fate favor her? When Carter and Eric were back at Forrester's design office discussing the missing silk, a familiar scent filled the air. "Does that?" Carter inquired, smelling. Eric said with a wink, "Daphne." She glided in with all the grace of someone who had spent just enough time away to become a mystery again. They welcomed her back with warm smiles, and soon talk shifted from shootings and Liam's recovery to the upcoming overseas launch. Daphne's fashion line had been a smashing success, and she was there to finalize packaging and press materials. Eric informed her that this trip will change everything, particularly for Brooke and Ridge. They soon made their way into the hallway to look over the gowns after Carter gave Daphne a warm look. Daphne teased the media, stoked anticipation, and made the event one to remember as they admired a soft emerald design. "I'm putting together something special," she said. Carter was clearly impressed. "I've missed seeing you," he said softly. Daphne smiled. "I'm certain you have." However, there was something more sinister about her eyes. She gave Carter a cryptic look and replied, "We'll see," when he asked her how long she would be there. Ridge yelled at Eric about Nick's unwelcome presence elsewhere in the office. "He's always scheming," Ridge hissed. "Brooke wanted to talk, so I told him to leave." Eric, ever the wise observer, urged Ridge to look inward. "Why does Nick get under your skin so much?" he asked. Ridge didn't hesitate. "Because he is a selfish brat, that's why." But then his phone rang, and the real reason for his agitation clicked into place. His man had located the silk shipment. It was sitting on a maroon shipping vessel. Ridge hung up, livid. "He's messing with us," he told Eric. "He knew we needed that silk. He didn't say a word." Eric, ever the patriarch, warned, "First it's the silk. Next, it's Brooke. You've got to stop him, Ridge." Meanwhile, Nick was painting his own picture in the main office, one of sunsets, gondolas, and eternal adventure. "Nothing compares to Italy," he said, voice honeyed. "Let's enjoy it together." Brooke tried to become a professional player. "This isn't a vacation," she said, but Nick was relentless. He responded, "It could be. You adore water. You enjoy magic. And Italy loves you." The words danced in the air between them, and for a moment, she looked like she might say yes. Ridge stormed in right at that point. "You've got an agenda," he accused. "You always do." Brooke looked up. "What is happening?" Ridge turned to her. "The silk is on his boat," he said. Nick grinned. "I told you I had work to do. It was just not what you wanted to hear." Brooke, suddenly suspicious, asked Nick directly, "Is this accurate?" Nick never denied it. "Not in the way he means," he said and pulled out his phone, authorizing the release of the shipment. Ridge could see red. "Do you find this amusing?" he shouted. "You mess with people's lives for sport." Nick shot back. "Hush up. And stop calling her Logan. You're marrying someone else." Brooke stood frozen between them, the past and the present playing tug-of-war with her heart. Ridge's fists clenched.